everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. Today I'm going to be doing a check-in because it is the midway through Camp NaNo July, and what an interesting camp it has been. So today I'm going to answer a few questions that maybe you might have had, or at least I might have had if I was watching myself, and just kind of generally recapping so far what I have done in the past 15-16 days. To begin, let's talk about one of the biggest differences that I've made on this channel with this particular camp as compared to Camp April and NaNoWriMo in 2019. As you may recall, I started this channel in September of 2019 with the big goal that I wanted to keep vlogging my experiences through NaNoWriMo and just in general writing and reading. So in NaNoWriMo for 2019, I attempted to write a YA contemporary that dealt with sexuality and mental health. At that time, I was pretty low. I was just in a low mental health space myself, and writing about that and then literally dealing with this in my actual job ended up being a little bit rougher than I intended it to be on myself. So I didn't end up finishing NaNoWriMo. I wrote like 25,000 words that month, so I wrote half of it. I made it halfway, and I was proud of myself, but for vlog content, I was a little disappointed because I wanted to be able to vlog the experience and like celebrate, and I didn't get to. So come Camp April, and then I decided, all right, you know what, I'm not in the right headspace still to write the YA contemporary, but let's go edit. I think I can edit a book in the month. I tried to vlog that, and lo and behold, I didn't do it again. So, of course, at this point in time, we had all hell broke loose on Earth, and from April and May, I just really struggled. So then we got to June, and by June, my creative juices finally started flowing again. The weather was warming up where I live, and I was able to kind of just enjoy what life was giving me again, so that included going back to writing, and since June I really amped up my creativity. So you may be wondering, why the hell did I just tell you all that? Okay, so if you've noticed, I haven't done any vlogs this Camp July at all, other than a writing experiment. That's it. This wasn't going to be planned this way, but initially like I was going to vlog, but given how poorly I did in my first 2 attempts with Nano, I was like, you know, I'm not gonna do it. The other factor that played into this is that for Camp NaNo of July, I was like, I want to do live writing sprints. And whether that meant I was hosting or co-hosting or participating with other people just in the comment section, my goal was really to do that. And I've been successful. So if you have noticed, I've hosted 2 writing sprints on my channel. One was by myself, one was with Hudson McCarthy. My friend Autumn Ashley, she has hosted several this month. Like, she's been killing it with the writing sprints, and she's like had me on for many of them as well. So just within those, I've been very, very successful, and in part I have been documenting my progress through those, because a lot of times we would go for 2 to 3 hours at a pop, and that was a lot of time to be giving 2 live streams and then vlogging on top of it. So that was one thing. The second thing was I really didn't want to disappoint if I didn't have content and things were boring. Now, I know some people would argue like, oh, vlogs are great, or like, I like vlogs no matter what, or even if you give us a little bit, it's fine. And that's fair. I just know for me, I want to make sure that when I'm sharing my life and my writing, that it's worthwhile in the end. So that was another big factor. And then in general, I really wanted to do more writing challenges during Camp NaNo because I figured this was the time to do it. I've already done my Myers-Briggs challenge, which I will link that down below up top in a card. I've also did Writing Like Suzanne Collins back in June, and I have another one that I'm hopefully going to be having in the next 2 weeks up on my channel. But because of that, I also figured it was going to be hard if I was doing more than a day of the challenge to be able to like vlog that challenge, and then on top of it vlogging for NaNoWriMo. So it's just been a weird time because I've actually been writing a hell of a lot. It has been amazing how much I've actually been writing, to the point where I'm averaging per day about 2,500 words, which is the most I've ever written, ever. Like, I've never been more successful before. So where does that lead us? Well, here is my Camp NaNo July update. We met my goal. So in July, I set out to achieve 30,000 words approximately. I went back to my YA contemporary because I just felt like after reading some contemporary books and like getting a feel for like after Pride Month and talking to people, I just really wanted to finish it. I'm like, it's time we finish this bad boy. So I started the month with 29,000 words, give or take a few hundred. And I was like, okay, my book will probably be around 60,000. Now, I was estimating because I didn't know when it was going to end. I didn't have set scenes, and that meant that I wasn't particularly aiming for a word goal. I was just aiming to finish it. And on Monday, July 17th, during a live stream, I actually did finish my goal. I ended up with 56,121 words, which was about, I think, 27,000 words that I wrote total for the 13 days that I was writing. And I've never written that fast in my life. It was insane. So I have a huge contribution to the writing streams that I've been participating in, because without those live streams, I might have been still writing at this point. But it's been amazing. And I finished my third book, which is insane. So I have one book that's ready to be queried, one book in the editing process, and I just drafted my third book. And it just feels so awesome to be there. And I have another segment about where I'm going to go with this book in a little bit. So we'll table that for now. However, you may be wondering, wow, you finished your goal in less than half the month. What are you doing now? I have plans. So July 15th was the next writing live stream that I did with Hudson McCarthy. And during that time, I decided that was going to be the first writing stream that I would be working on something else other than my YA contemporary. Because now that that's written and the first draft is done, I'm putting that aside. I'm not going to look at it for maybe a month or two until I go back to start editing it. So with that in mind, I was trying to figure out what things I've been putting off or what I would want to do. And I have 2 short stories that I started and really don't need much more work. One short story is a historical fiction set in Salem during the witch trials. And that only has like 2 scenes left. It's really not that long. And I started that back, I don't know, maybe it was September of last year. It was close to when I started this channel, because I was trying to see if I can get into a book. Like there was a publication, a call for short story submissions about unrequited love, or like love that, you know, isn't normal. That sounds weird. What I mean to say is that uncommon love. So it could be, you know, that you're in love with like a paranormal entity, you're in love with someone who's taboo, you're in love with, you know, anything of that nature. It was uncommon. So I started writing that, and then I didn't get picked to be in the anthology, and then I just kind of stopped writing the last 2 scenes of all things. The other thing I've mentioned on this channel in my writing goals is that me and 2 of my friends were having more of like a fun passion project about some misfit witches, and kind of we're each writing a chapter in their perspective, and then at the end, like, we start kind of combining things to, because you start realizing their stories are actually connected. That's a really terrible way to talk about it. But initially it was going to be an anthology, and then we realized that we wanted to connect them. So that's why it's more of a passion project, because I don't know if there's a name for what we're actually doing. But it's been fun, and I wanted to finish writing that as well, because I said I was going to about 4 months ago, and here we are. So with that said, I have been working on that since I finished my NaNo goal, and once I'm done with those 2, the only thing left, I started writing a new poem, so I'd be working on that as well, and then I would probably go back to editing my YA fantasy story, because that's really the only thing left to do. I was considering writing something, like a whole new project, but I think I need a break from drafting after all of this, because it's been really fun, but I also want to make sure that I'm also keeping my editing. Like, I can't just be pumping out things and then never going back to edit. So anyway, that was long-winded. So yeah, so for now, since I finished my Camp NaNo goal, I have 2 short stories to work on. Once they are done, I'm going to start editing my YA fantasy, and we're just going to go from there. I easily think the 2 stories will be done in a week, and then that only leaves me with like a week and a half to to start editing. So there's not going to be like a tentative editing goal. Like I'm not aiming to finish my edits by the end of the month, just to get farther along, because I think I have like 27 or 28 chapters and I've only edited up to 6, and I think I already like broke a chapter in half. So we got a lot to do. We got work to do. So to recap with my YA contemporary, so you may or may not be wondering, you know, what was my next steps with that? And this is where I kind of get into the pickle, because if you guys remember, I want to be traditionally published. I do think the contemporary novel is commercial enough to be picked up and published easily. But that's not why I wrote the novel. I wrote the novel because it is partially my story, and because I struggled with something growing up as a teenager. It's something that I think other teens in that position would also relate to. So it was definitely like a story for me, but also something that can be easily shareable. With that said, because it's easily marketable, I probably could get a lot of interest in it, but that's not really the route I want to go. And this is why. If you guys have been here, you know I like fantasy and I love writing fantasy, and the majority of my work is fantasy. Traditional publishing is a very tricky issue when you come to crossing genres or crossing age categories. Because when you get traditionally published, your agent and editor and like publisher possibly all kind of expect something from you. And usually that something is you're going to be this genre in this age category, and you're going to market yourself as that way. So people can start expecting this from you and get hype for what you're doing. With me, I don't want to be labeled as a contemporary writer. I want to be a fantasy writer, and I really want to do adult fantasy. Unfortunately, I've only written one it is adult fantasy. That's what we're pushing it as, but I could easily see some people arguing that it's YA fantasy for 2 of the characters in the first book, which is fine. It's okay. But it makes it really hard when you're marketing. And if I'm trying to find an agent and I find an agent for contemporary, I know I'm going to have to probably write at least 2 more contemporary books before they decide I'm worthwhile and I can hop over into something different. And that kills me because I don't want to do that. So really what's probably going to happen is I'm going to focus on the adult fantasy book that I've already written and co-written and edited the shit out of. And then we're going to focus on my YA fantasy, because I think those 2 are also really good and unique stories that could be marketable. The adult fantasy is a little bit more niche, and that one might be harder. So I think writing with my YA fantasy is probably the best bet. I also have one other YA fantasy book idea planned, very loosely, and I have 2 other adult fantasy books planned and starting to be plotted. So I have a lot of potential there, and that's where I think I want to stay. So as of now, this is why I'm also not going to be editing my YA contemporary anytime soon, because I just don't think I am going to publish it unless I publish it on my own. And I have no intention of doing that right now. So there you have it. You know, I think the end of this video could easily be like a whole other topic or discussion. And maybe we could do a live stream discussion on it one day if you guys are interested. But yeah, the traditional publishing world is so tricky, and there's so many nuances to it. So if you are thinking about going that route, just take in mind that it is very hard for a reason, and it sucks that it's an uphill battle, but there are definitely things to learn about yourself and discover and identify potential problems before you pursue traditionally publishing. And as I mentioned, because I really want to be marketed as a fantasy writer, doing my contemporary first may put me in a bind that I'm not willing to do at this time. So keep it in mind if you're also in this position. Anyway, I think really that's been my wrap up for the last 2 weeks. It is just wild that I've already been 2 weeks into camp and I finished my goal, and I'm already working on other goals, and I'm very proud of myself. And I hope that you guys, I've been talking to a lot of wonderful writers on this platform who are killing it. Autumn already met her goal. Hudson, is also like she's not drafting at this point, she's editing and world building, and she's killing it. And then there's so many people who come into our live streams that are also like just killing their numbers or killing their editing game. Helene also finished hers. So like, it's just crazy how I feel like we just formed this small community, and we just all encouraged each other, and we exceeded our expectations. So it's been a wonderful experience overall. With that said, I definitely have upcoming live streams for sprinting purposes. The next one that I'll be hosting is going to be already done by the time this video comes out, because I tend to have Friday writing streams when I also have videos coming out. But that would be this morning, the time that you're seeing this, on July 17th. And that would be over on Autumn's channel. So if you want to go hit that replay and give her some views, go do that. Additionally, next week, at this point, I don't have a specific date. It's either going to be Wednesday the 22nd or Thursday the 23rd with Hudson on my channel. I will leave that link down below when we have that all situated. And then on Friday the 24th, I'm going to be over on Autumn's channel again, sprinting. So there's going to be tons of opportunities. I will try to leave all of them down below to the best of my ability. I hope you can join us and keep tackling your own writing goals for this month. And let me know down below if you've already met your goal or how close you are if you haven't. And if you always need encouragement, you know where to find me. So until next time, guys, I will see you then. Bye.